Kalbant apie Didžiąją Britaniją, norėčiau pakviesti poną JAMIE DEVLIN iš Revolute. Jis yra Pasaulinės verslo plėtros vadovas ir skaitys pranešimą, kokius privalumus turi fintechas palyginus su bankais. Ar yra šis pranešėjas? I think, JAMIE, if you hear me,
yes.
If you are JAMIE, please come in. Back to English.
Hi everyone, Labas. Did I say that right, Labas? Hi. I'm JAMIE DEVLIN. I lead business development at Revolut. Who knew today was World Happiness Day? It's World Happiness Day. I hope everybody here is very happy. I am really excited to be in Vilnius in Lithuania. It's a very important country for Revolut. We're expanding massively here, and as I'll talk about, we already have quite a big presence, and we have our banking license here already. So, most of you have probably heard of us, but for those who haven't, Revolut is a global banking solution that is used by about 4.3 million customers across Europe. We launched in 2015, and we now have over 800 employees. In fact, every time we do these kind of presentations, we have to keep updating the slides because it just keeps growing and growing. At the minute, I think it's the last month, about 100 new employees. So it's absolutely going through the roof. 80,000 registered businesses using our platform. And at the minute, we have nearly 5 billion of transactions every month through the platform. Where we want to go in the future, I mean, that's just the start. That's the kind of basics. Where we want to get to is we want to be a global banking solution. So everybody, wherever they are in the world, whether you're in Sydney, whether you're in Auckland, whether you're in Paris, whether you're in New York, whether you're in Sao Paulo, will have completely the same or as similar as possible onboarding experience and user experience with Revolut. Open your account in 2 minutes and start using your bank around the world. Now you might say, hang on, there are already banks that operate around the world. I can think of a few, the world's local bank, HSBC, and you'd be right in saying that they have operations around the world, but we would argue they're not truly global. So a good example I have is in 2012, I went to go do my MBA in Singapore. And I already had an HSBC account in London. So I thought, great, HSBC, world's global bank. They're in London, they're in Singapore. I don't have to do anything, I can just rock up. Got to Singapore, went to HSBC, they said, yeah, don't know who you are, you're gonna need to open a local account, need your passport, need your residence permit, need blah, blah, blah. 4 weeks later, still waiting for an account, had to transfer lots of money across at vast expense. It was a real pain, and this is the pain that we are trying to solve. We are literally days away from opening in Singapore. We just opened our first accounts in Australia a week ago, so it is happening. We've been talking about this global expansion for a long time. It's now underway, and we will be this bank, or our vision is to be this bank that covers the whole world. So it doesn't matter where you are, you will always be able to use Revolut. So, you may have heard that we are licensed in Lithuania as a bank. That was quite big news, made a lot of headlines in the UK, and I'm sure it did here as well. Some people may be asking, okay, so you're becoming a bank. Does that mean that you're going to slow down? Does that mean you're going to stop being disruptive? Does that mean that you're going to have to start becoming more like the kind of the old school banks? Some of the things that we think mean that they don't operate as nimbly as a fintech can. And we would say absolutely not. That's because we have a different approach, and that different approach creates a different product. First of all, most people, this is how they get to know Revolut initially. This is how we started. It's about multi-currency accounts. So Revolut originally started just as a card that you could use when you go traveling abroad. You can go spend anywhere, no fees, interbank exchange rate. It's super easy to send money anywhere in the world. So we were solving a specific problem that the banks were not solving. In fact, they were taking advantage of. They were seeing FX as a cash cow. They were using it to take advantage of consumers and use it to basically milk them because there were no other options in the market. So the approach that we take at Revolut is always, let's just not have a kind of grandiose vision and grandiose slogan that doesn't mean much. Let's actually find a concrete problem and then solve it. And the beauty of this FX issue is that whether you are Jeff Bezos or whether you are not Jeff Bezos and don't have a lot of money, you're always going to be annoyed if you're spending money unnecessarily when you go abroad. Very wealthy people, very poor people, everyone complains about the fact that they get absolutely screwed over by the banks, or at least they did, whenever they went abroad. And we set out just to solve that problem head on, and we did, and that is a philosophy that we've carried on with all of the product development we do today. It's like, let's actually find a specific consumer problem, and let's find a really smart, elegant way to solve that problem. So we took the same approach with cards. Obviously, all banks have cards, but what most banks will not give you is a virtual card. So when you get Revolut, as soon as you log on, you can immediately get some virtual card details to go and spend as you wish. And I'll get to how that's useful for businesses in particular, but even for personal users. They may just want to buy something online, get it straight away. But even more than that, in the age we live in now of increased internet fraud, of people being wary about their details online, we heard from people that what they really wanted was a kind of a burn-on reading card, a disposable card that you use it once and then it can't be used again. So it's super secure. Whatever you want to use it for online, you're not at risk of some kind of attack. And so we built that into our proposition. And now with Revolut, you can get an unlimited number of disposable virtual cards to cover you in the event of that fraud. That's coupled with some very advanced security settings. If you lose your card, you can block it, unblock it, you can cancel the card itself. No need to actually interact with our support team at all. Second thing we heard from people is that, okay, it's all well and good you giving me this card to go and spend with, but what I really struggle with is actually my saving. Some people just find it very hard to save and very hard to budget. And so we built vaults. So vaults allow you to actually save automatically. When you go and spend in a shop, if it costs you 50 euro cents or it costs you 10 euro 70, the change can be rounded up and automatically saved in the pocket, so you don't have to think about it. And we knew this feature was a hit when we released it, and within a few weeks, like hundreds of thousands of vaults have been set up for all sorts of different things, whether it was holidays, whether it's saving up for a car, whether it's saving up for a present. People were using it to save in all sorts of different ways, and they said, the thing we love about it is you listen to us and you're doing it automatically. We are not having to put the effort in. I think as soon as people have to start doing complex daily budgets, or they have to actively remember to save, it loses its effectiveness. So that's another example of how we've taken consumer feedback on board. The third is business accounts. So the slogan behind Revolut for Business is save time, save money, and stay in control, which sounds, very glib. What do we actually mean by that? Well, save time. Not to pick on the big banks again, I won't name them, but we've heard so many businesses say, I've been trying to get an account for the last 8 weeks, and I can't even get an appointment with an account manager. And when I do, I just don't know what's happening. This is really frustrating. With Revolut, you can sign up for accounts wherever you are in the world, and typically you can onboard on the same day. You can save a lot of money by taking advantage of all the FX that I already mentioned. But the third point, where I think we can be really innovative versus a big bank, is about control. So we have built Revolut for Business to be able to integrate with existing tech solutions, which is something I don't think existing banks would really think about doing. But for us, that's incredibly powerful. If you think about Slack, I don't know how many people here are familiar with Slack, but it's the communication platform that a lot of startups use. We built integration between that and Revolut for Business. Why is that important? It's important because you can now see live in real time on any Slack channel everything that's going on your Revolut for Business account. So if you're the financial controller and you have given out a load of corporate cards to people to go and spend around the world, previously, you're probably like waiting for the statement from American Express at the end of the month with real trepidation, like what the hell have your employees been spending their money on? You know, you gave them the expenses policy. What's the Diamond Dolls Club in Bangkok? Why is that there? Like that, as a finance controller, that kind of thing happened all the time. With Revolut for Business, you can actually see in real time exactly what your employees are using their corporate cards for. And we had one of our earliest businesses tell us how useful this was for them when they gave their employees Revolut corporate cards and set a very clear expense policy, what they could and couldn't spend on. And the finance controller was able to see in real time that one of the employees was spending in a way that they shouldn't have been spending on, and immediately was able to freeze the card from Revolut for Business, call up the employee, check that there wasn't a fraud, they hadn't lost the card. Actually, the employee was just misusing it, so they made very clear what the policy was, and the word got around that company very quickly that actually they were in control of the finances. It was not the employees that could just go and could take the piss with their spending. And so this is like a real tangible example of how actually making your accounts, making your technology integrated and a bit more useful can really benefit companies. So it's a quick taster of what we've got coming up in the future from Revolut. So first of all, commission-free trading. Incredibly excited about this. In a lot of countries, I think, especially in Lithuania, it's quite hard to get access to the global equities market. At least if you do, you have to pay a significant amount of money per trade. We're going to offer it for free. So straight from your Revolut account, log in, commission-free trading. You want to get Apple stocks, Twitter stocks, all the big blue chip stocks, do it straight from your Revolut account. Revolut Youth. So this is, again, something I'm not sure the big banks would be interested in, but for us is really important. Get your kids involved in finance. So your parents can set up a card for you as a child, and you can have a very limited version of the app that teaches you about budgeting, gives you a card, and allows you to access some of our cool existing features. So that's coming in the summer, and super excited to get a new generation of people onto the Revolut card. So second bit, I know we're running a bit short of time, I just wanted to touch on with scaling for someone like Revolut. How do we get to 4 million users with zero paid advertising? So we had a few questions about this in the past, zero paid advertising. To get to 4 million, we had some partnerships, but we didn't do any billboard campaigns. We didn't do any above-the-line marketing. And now we're experimenting with AdWords and a few other ways, but up to get to 4 million, we didn't do any. And the reason that was possible is because we had brand that people like, and they tell their friends about, and they actually find viral. I don't know how many big banks could say that people are out there on Instagram taking pictures of their bank card, putting it online, but we get hundreds of these every day. Our Instagram feed has 50,000 followers, which is crazy because we're actually, we're a fintech app, we're a banking app. But people bought into the brand enough that when they go abroad, they tell their friends about it. And when people tell their friends, you don't have to spend money on marketing. You don't have to bribe people £50 to get an account. They see the value, and they actually think it's kind of cool. And they tell their friends, and they get it. And the result is your CPA, your cost to acquire a customer, is orders of magnitude lower than you get for the big banks. And as we grow and continue to become a fully fledged financial institution, becoming a bank, we want to keep that CPA low. We don't want to fall into the trap of suddenly just paying for customers, because I think that shows that you aren't necessarily offering the value that you could be. Customers are not idiots nowadays. Customers have access to all the information they need to make a rational choice, and they're not going to choose you if your product is not making a difference to them in a tangible way every day, which is what we believe we are doing. I'll very quickly just talk about our hiring and talent management as well. This is another differentiator to the banks. So the vast majority of our workforce is under 30 years old. They're millennials. And they make up 30% of the labor market. Millennials are very different. You hear stories about them being entitled, and they want to make an impact, and they want to do something from day one. I don't necessarily think that's true. I just think people now want to work somewhere with a purpose where they can actually, we would always say, move the needle. And one thing about Revolut, which I think you'll find very different to a big bank, is that from day one, you have to come in and you have to move the needle. And it attracts the kind of people that find that challenge, you know, to be really exciting. I'm hiring for loads of people on my team at the minute, and the one quality I always look for is someone that's just super eager to come in and excited by the difference they can make. We will give people autonomy, and we will also give people a lot of accountability to go and get stuff done. And I think you'll find life very different in a kind of BD team of 4 than you would in a BD team or sales team or compliance team of many thousands, when you just feel like a cog and that the difference you're making doesn't feel as massive. So on that topic, and this is a bit of a sales pitch now for Revolut, but worth mentioning, we are massively growing. In Europe especially, up until now we've been very centralized. Everything's been done in London with a few people in each individual market. We're now going big in each market. We're going vertical as well as horizontal, and in Lithuania, in the Baltics, in all the major European markets, you'll see a much bigger presence from Revolut. In Vilnius alone, we're hiring 70 to 100 people over the next couple of months. You can talk to myself or my colleague Talvas about that afterwards if you're interested. But that's where we have to make sure our machine is helping us to scale, because it's not easy to hire that many people. We heard earlier on from the Transfer Go about how difficult it is to find talent in somewhere like Lithuania. Like, that's where we have to really unturn every single stone when we are trying to find the next you know, people who are going to move our needle and take us from 10 to 100. So finally, I know that I need to wrap up. Just to reiterate, we are going global in 2019. We just launched Australia in a very beta soft way, about to launch Singapore, US, Canada, Japan, New Zealand, and more to come. So 2019 is going to be a massive year for Revolut. Really happy that a big part of it can be taking place in Lithuania. And I hope that in the talk today we've convinced you that fintech is definitely the way forward. We are going to keep to our fintech roots as we go and try and keep disrupting banking all over the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and we are so happy to keep looking at Revolut, and because it is a big part of Lithuania's fintech success and success story.